Yes, people, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys are all doing well. So Manchester United have lost in the Community Shield on penalties against Manchester City. It's also been a big day in terms of transfers, as David Ornstein has come through with another David Ornstein bomb and announced that Manchester United have agreed a deal to sign Matthijs de Ligt and of course Nazir Mazraoui from Bayern Munich. So we'll get stuck into that as well. But first things first, Manchester United losing today against Manchester City when we were ahead both in the game with a couple of minutes remaining and of course ahead in the penalty shootout as well. But unfortunately, after misses by Jadon Sancho at the same end where he missed that penalty for England in the European Championships final, and a miss for Jonny Evans as well. I hate that it had to be him, but it was Jonny Evans who missed the decisive penalty for Manchester United as Man City went on to lift the Community Shield. I gotta say though, I was quietly impressed by Manchester United's performance. Now the first 20-25 minutes, I thought Manchester City controlled that and they looked the better side. They created a few dangerous moments for Manchester United. We had a few shaky moments at the back, but luckily we got through that and we grew into the game. And I thought in the second half, there was only ever going to be one winner. Obviously, we get the goal from Alejandro Garnacho, who came on as a substitute. And I thought it was a really, really good goal from him. And he made an improvement to the team when he came on. He really impressed with his performance when he did come on. But Man United had some sitters in that second half. Marcus Rashford clipped the post when he probably should have scored. Well, he should have scored. Marcus Rashford will know that he should have scored. Those are normally the chances that he eats up. And he missed one in the first half as well. Fingers crossed they start falling for him. Because obviously he's going to be, he needs to be a big player for Manchester United this season, and with the potential that he has to score goals, you know, United need him firing. And then Scott McTominay as well, after Marcus Rashford won a good cushioned header into the 6-yard box, Scott McTominay just failed to meet the ball, failed to connect, had a little air kick, and Man City got away with it. And it could have been 2 or 3 for Manchester United in that second half before Bernardo Silva scored a fantastic header. Gary Pellistri, or Facundo Pellistri as some of you know him, he was quite good in terms of how he got up and he challenged for the ball, but he was just too short. And I know Bernardo Silva isn't the biggest of players either when he's scoring a header against you, but it's a shame someone else wasn't marking him at that point. Now I know your defenders are going to go for the bigger lads and Bernardo Silva's making that late run, but it's a shame that someone else wasn't on him, because you feel if it was a Jonny Evans or someone like that, they're probably going to go and win the ball in that instance. And then when it's 1-1, go into penalties, it's anyone's game from that point. But I thought the performance was quite impressive. You know, we started with a team that had Lisandro Martinez at left back, had Harry Maguire and Jonny Evans at centre half. There's been no Aaron Wan-Bissaka, as his move has been given the here we go by Fabrizio Romano to West Ham, £15 million. I think that's really cheap, but considering he's got a year in his contract, we're looking to bring Mazraoui in, and we've kind of got, you know, the money in that we've paid for Mazraoui. A 60 million combined deal, including those add-ons for de Ligt and Mazraoui, I think is a really, really good bit of business for Manchester United. But yeah, Aaron Wan-Bissaka left, so he wasn't involved today, or he's about to leave. Obviously, Erik ten Hag wouldn't commit on what was happening, and he said we'll wait and see when we've got stuff to announce. So obviously we have to wait for the official announcements, but Aaron Wan-Bissaka is looking like he's off to West Ham. That news coming almost simultaneously as we heard the news about Mazraoui and Matthijs de Ligt coming to Manchester United. Amad Diallo was, that chance that he could have put it on a plate for Mason Mount. Unfortunately, he overhit his pass and Mason Mount just couldn't get on the end of the ball. We had chances today. We really, really did have chances, and I thought Amad Diallo impressed at times. I thought Garnacho was really, really impressive. Bruno Fernandes looks like his typical self, his usual self. I thought Casemiro had a decent performance as well. There were times early on where I thought, is this going to be one of those Casemiro performances? But he grew into the game and he's looking fit, he's looking lean. Now I still think we need to bring in that midfielder to challenge him. And the manager spoke after the game saying he doesn't expect Casemiro to leave, but we still need that midfield signing. If we're going to bring in Xerxes, Lenny Yoro, Matthijs de Ligt and of course Mazraoui, then we do need a central midfielder. I think, look, we need a couple of other things, probably a left back as well. But you know, it gives us the option with Mazraoui to play the low at left back, and you have 2 fullbacks who are comfortable in attack. So you know, those signings are going to do bits for Manchester United, but we do need to bring in a little bit more. And maybe, you never know, if towards the end of the window we can move a few more of our players out, we could potentially target a striker as well. As you could feel a little bit more comfortable if United had a little bit more goals in that front line. But overall, not a bad performance, man, especially when you look at some of the performances in pre-season. This was obviously a glorified friendly, but it's still a title at stake. It's still, you know, Manchester City at Wembley. And although we didn't win, I think we did put in a good performance. Now, as for those deals between Matthijs de Ligt and, of course, Mazraoui coming to Manchester United, that came from David Ornstein, who was reporting that news through that Manchester United had agreed a deal to sign both players. As I said, coming up to around £45 million for Matthijs de Ligt, including those add-ons, and £15 million for Mazraoui, including those add-ons. When you think of Matthijs de Ligt, and you know, we had this discussion with Paul Scholes on the overlap. I had this discussion with Paul Scholes on the overlap. He was saying he doesn't really fancy him. He doesn't think, you know, a player that was kind of benched for Eric Dyer last season should be signing for Man United. But I think that was a little bit harsh. You look at the injuries that de Ligt's had, and when he was available, he was starting, and there was times when he was starting with Eric Dyer. So it wasn't like it was Eric Dyer, you know, keeping him out of the team. I don't think that was the case at all. And Matthijs de Ligt has been pretty good. Obviously, he was excellent for Ajax, had a decent time at Juventus, moved on from there after, you know, all that Cristiano Ronaldo money was spent. They kind of needed to sell him. And then you look at, you know, his time at Bayern Munich. They didn't win the league last season. That wasn't because of Matthijs de Ligt, but you always expect when Bayern Munich don't win the league, they're going to make some changes and they're going to try and make some things happen. And it looks like Manchester United are going to benefit from that, because I really do think, you know, if these are the signings, Lenny Yoro, I think is one for the future. Looks really good, really composed. Shame he got that injury. You got Xerxes as well, who's one for the future. Matthijs de Ligt, whilst he's not young, he's still got a lot of potential. Still relatively young, at the good side of 25, and he can still improve massively. And he's still got that experience, having won the league at Ajax, at Juventus, and at Bayern Munich. So I think he could be a really, really good bit of business for Manchester United. And fingers crossed we can get those deals done official, so they can be involved maybe in a few training sessions before that game against Fulham on Friday. It's a shame it comes a little bit earlier, that game, because you would have liked to have seen them involved, even if they're getting you know, presented to the crowd at Old Trafford. I'm sure that would give us a little bit of a boost as well. But all in all, whilst we didn't win the penalty shootout, whilst we didn't win the 90 minutes, I think it's been a decent day for Manchester United, because there's some glimpses of good form and things to look forward to there in that performance. And of course, we've got the deals done for Mazraoui and Matthijs de Ligt as well. So I think things are looking up at the moment and things are coming together. Or Millhouse. Now, if you're looking at my face and you're thinking, Adam, why are you so stern-faced and why weren't you at Wembley? That's because I was involved in the UKIPT London main event with Poker Stars, and I made it to day 2. Day 2 is where the money's paid out. There was 700 odd runners, I think around 750, and your boy finished 42nd. But I did bluff my balls off, and I am feeling a little bit gutted about it right now. So that's why I look like this. But eventually the dust will settle. I'll forget the embarrassment of bluffing myself off, and, you know, I'll be happy with my performance. Couldn't better last season's 29th place performance, unfortunately. But hey ho, that's how it goes sometimes. Anyway, let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure you're liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing. We've got loads more to come on the channel. Keep it locked. I'll see you in a bit.